Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews, or as we call it for the month of October, BrickWall Horror. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about a hold on, what is that? Tonight, I'm going to be y'all see me moving stuff out of frame. Tonight, we're going to be talking about My Best Friend's Exorcism. This is a movie on Amazon Prime. It's a horror comedy starring Elsie Fisher, Amaya Miller, and Chris Lowell. But before we get into it, we'll remind you guys to go ahead and hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. Make sure you check out some mini reviews we did over on the Instagram page, which is at BrickWall_Live. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. And tomorrow is Thursday, so you know what that is. That's Twitch night. So make sure you guys tune in for that. We're just going to have a fun one. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and get into it. So My Best Friend's Exorcism. This movie was released on Amazon Prime. It's a Prime original. It was released on September 30th of this year. Like I already mentioned, it stars Elsie Fisher, Amaya Miller, Chris Lowell, Kathy Ang, not Yang, but Ang without the Y. Clayton Johnson, Anderson, and Cynthia Evans, just to name a few of the cast. This has to do with it takes place in 1988, so it's an 80s piece, and it has to do with best friends Abby and Gretchen navigate boys, pop culture, and the paranormal force clinging to Gretchen. With help from a mall exorcist, Abby is determined to compel the demon back to the pits of hell if it doesn't kill Gretchen first. So pretty much within that synopsis, just to break it down a little bit more. So it's a group of girls. They pretty much go and they have a night where they hang around like this haunted house or something like that. There's something on that lines with them hanging out around it. So hold up, because I need to look at the names too. So when Gretchen and Abby go into this house, Gretchen ends up getting possessed by a demon. And it's really interesting. Like one part I like about that entire sequence is while Gretchen is still in the house, Abby is outside of the house. So Abby's like booking it. She's running and everything. And she's like, Gretchen. And then she hears like, I'm fine, Abby, keep going. But it's actually like that's a demon playing the tricks on her to get her away from Gretchen. Which is something that happens throughout the movie. Like the demon has it's trying to possess Gretchen. So Gretchen's like, I can't sleep. I'm just afraid to close my eyes. It's like she got all these marks on her body and everything like that. And she's like, I can't relax too much or it'll let him in. And it's horrifying. It's terrifying. I can see him. And he sits on me every night and just looks at me and just stares at me. I'm just so afraid. So what happens is that, Gretchen, she starts to display different behaviors and everything, which kind of pushes her away pushes her away from her friends and everything, makes her look a little awkward and stuff like that. But at one point, Gretchen's attitude kind of changes a little bit, right? So when it does, she gets into an argument with Abby. Matter of fact, no, it's not really an argument, because what happens is that Gretchen and that's at this point being possessed by the demon pretty much ends up exposing one of Abby's deepest secrets in front of like everybody, embarrasses her. And so while Gretchen's pretty much like battling the demon real hard at this time, because remember, for those of you, I don't watch a lot of exorcism movies and everything, but one thing I learned something watching this movie, right? One thing I learned is that the demons, they want you to be isolated from everyone so they can have total control, right? If that's a common thing. Like I said, I don't be watching the exorcism movies, so I don't really know, but that's something that they do mention in this movie, that The demon wants her to be isolated so that it could take total control, and it wants to do that by any means necessary. So that was really interesting, that they kind of went that route, I thought, and it kind of made it even a bit more hold on, sorry guys. It made it even a bit more emotional when in this part in the bathroom where Gretchen's just like, please don't leave me, Abby. And Abby's already so fed up and everything that she's just like, you're not even my friend anymore. Boom. But once that happens, demon takes over. And then this demon, like I said, is trying to isolate Gretchen from the friends. So what does Gretchen in demon form do? Starts trying to pretty much kill everybody. And this is one sequence I've been telling everybody about, which is really what drove me to do this review. Oh man, so I don't want to say too much about it, but let's just say somebody ends up, you know what I'm saying? Something comes out of somebody, and it's not throw up, but it's something comes out of somebody. And it had me going crazy because it was just so unexpected because it's set up so subtly, right? But then the payoff to that was wild. And I was like, yo, like every time I tell people about this part, they're like, yo, what the fuck? And they're just ready to watch this automatically. So that's a good part of that. That's a highlight in this movie. But everything else is like really like this demon be wild. And demon does the basic shit. Like it talks shit, you know what I'm saying? It gets real scary, intimidating, blah, blah, blah. So that's when you get the mall exorcist and all this other stuff. The movie just pretty much goes crazy after, you know what I'm saying, when you have to get to the point where you have to exorcise the demon. Movie just starts to kind of go off the rails a bit, but it doesn't go too crazy, but it does get really, really interesting. So off the top though, because like I said, I'm not gonna say too much else about this movie plot wise, but like I said, the thing that drew me to this movie was the excuse me, the thing that drew me to this movie was the part that said, I'm not going to spoil that one. And what drew me to it also was the title, My Best Friend's Exorcism. Like, what? Like, that's such a quirky title, and it is a horror comedy. Not too big on the comedic parts of it, because I didn't really think it was that funny. There were certain, like, I liked the mall exorcist. He was pretty funny. But other than that, it wasn't really like a lot of comedy. When I described this movie to someone, this is how they said it sounded like, and this is accurate. They said it sounds like Mean Girls meets The Exorcist meets one of the Alien movies. And honestly, that's been like the best description. Like, if you want to give it like a real quick rundown, like, oh, what's this movie like? Like, how could you describe this movie very quickly? That's the perfect way to describe it, because it does do some Mean Girls-esque things. Obviously, the exorcism part is in there, and then like with the one part that shall not be named right now, it is a little alien-esque. But you can leave that to yourself. But yeah, so I mean, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it would be good to talk about, of course, BrickWall horror, the horror month. I did think that it was a bit spooky in some places. One thing that they do in this movie, they do show the actual demon. Like they show it. The visual effects on that is pretty dope. But that's a scary, not scary, but that's a crazy looking thing. It does a lot of those exorcism tropes, where it's just like, oh, help me, what are you doing, I'm innocent, let me go, you stupid bitch. Like, it does like dumb things right there. So it's like, it's nothing like really innovative about it, but it's just something that, if you don't like, if you're like myself, you don't watch a lot of the exorcism possession movies and stuff like that, this is something that kind of doesn't really put you into the mindset to watch more of them, but it does kind of give you that, oh, okay, well, that was, what I'm saying, that was good. So that was a good little watch and everything, that was fun. The things I like about this movie, again, that is it's accessible. I do like the 80s setting. I didn't think I was gonna like it that much, but I do like the setting there with that, because they don't like in your face it like a lot of other 80s stuff do. But it kind of because everyone in the town, they're like this. I don't know if I'm using the word conservative right, but they're like these super Christians. You're like, oh, Christ and God, and that's sinful, and it's like oh. Speaking of which, it's this one part in this movie that really tripped me out. It's not a spoiler, but it's like because pretty much the Abby doesn't really know that Gretchen's possessed, right? Like not really like till the end, till like the movie starting to settle down. But what happens is that Abby thinks that Gretchen is the things that Gretchen is saying and the things that she's alluding to that's going on with her. She thinks that Gretchen was raped. So when she goes to the because they took LSD in the beginning when they took LSD, not a big deal in the movie, but they took LSD, right? So while Abby's telling Gretchen's parents about this, Gretchen's parents don't flinch until she says the part about the LSD. And then when Gretchen's parents start to respond, again, this ain't really a spoiler, it's some funny shit. Gretchen's parents, they go, "You guys did drugs? How could you?" She's like, "Your daughter was raped. What are you doing? I'm trying to say your daughter was raped. Oh, you can't hang around her. They're a bad influence. You're making things up. This isn't, how could you do drugs? Drugs." Like they focus so much on the drug thing, right? Which I think there's a little bit of social commentary there. I'm not really sure. But again, it was just really interesting. Like I said, like these big I don't know if I'm using the word conservative right, but it's like these really big devout extra Christians and stuff like that. You go to the Christian schools and they got the nuns teaching stuff like this is sin, that is sin, sin will kill you, sin is that, like something like that. So it's yeah, so that's a very interesting part, and like when you watch it, you'll kind of see a bit more of what I'm trying to allude to and what I'm kind of talking about. But that was something that was really interesting about the movie. Something I didn't like about it. I mean, it's really nothing that I didn't necessarily. It was a little long. It was a little long. Well, it felt a little long. Um, some of the humor didn't always hit, and some of the things they did, like I don't know, some of it kind of felt a little drug out. Like it kind of dragged a little bit. Um, because I fell asleep both times I watched it, but it was always around the same point that I kind of started to get like, okay, can we wrap this up? Like, let's get to the point. We get what's going on here. Can we kind of, move this along a bit? Um, so yeah, there's definitely that. Um, Yeah, I mean that's it. Like there's really, like I said, the things that stuck out to me, I've already pretty much said them. But overall, I do think that this is a really good movie to watch around the spooky season. It's on Prime. Like I said, really drew me to it was the title. Like I was like, wow, my best friend's exorcism. What is that? Like, how does that even go? Even when I explain to people, they're like, yo, what? That sounds like some crazy shit. So it is. It's a crazy movie. It's a really pretty fun movie to watch. Overall, I would give it well, before I tell you my rating, and something I didn't necessarily agree with is the critical reception, so to speak. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 52%, and on IMDb, it has a 5.3 out of 10. They're all pretty much half and half on the movie. It was actually a little bit lower when I first looked at this score, because I think I watched this movie not too long after it came out, because it's been this isn't something I literally just watched. Like I watched it the first time about 2 weeks ago, and then I put it on again about yeah, I wasn't too far separated from when this movie came out and when I'm actually reviewing it right now. Yeah, I'm not too far removed. So the score kind of did change a little bit. It did. So but as for myself, I give this movie 38. No, 39. 39 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it was enjoyable, but there are parts that kind of lag a little bit. And honestly, now, like the more I think about it, like that one part that I won't mention is kind of the highlight of the movie. That and the ending battle against the actual demon. Those were really interesting parts. like I said, the mall exorcist, whose name was rather who's played by Chris Lowell, he was hilarious. Like that's where I got a lot of laughs from there. But other than that, I didn't get too many laughs. It's just like a little high school drama thing. I don't know. It was good though. It was good. Definitely worth the watch. I think it's rated R, so this is not something you really want to watch around your kids, but there's no nudity in there, there's no sex. There's like a lot of sex illusions, like they do there's sexuality in there. Of course there's language, bad words, they say the F word, S word, B word, all the words you think of. Some violence in there, of course, and then with rape being a heavy topic in there, depending on how you feel about that, there's that type of things in there too. But other than that, like it's not like too extreme, too over the edge, too pearl clutching in there. It's just a typical horror movie, but I thought it was something very interesting, which is why I decided to review it as we wrap up BrickWall Horror this month. So make sure you guys go check it out. It is called My Best Friend's Exorcism. It is now available on Amazon Prime to watch. If you have your Prime membership, go ahead check that out for the frizzy, so to speak. And I do know that Sam always mentions that whenever it comes down to Prime, that there are if you're receiving government assistance, you can get Prime for free, I believe. So definitely make sure you guys look at that. I do forget the information, but if you go watch some of our past videos, I'm pretty sure we definitely mentioned it there. And speaking of past videos, if you make sure you guys check out my trailer reactions I did to the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Check out my Black Adam review. Check out all our other BrickWall horror reviews and the mini reviews that we did over there on Instagram. And I think that's it. So yeah, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Remember, if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below if you've watched this movie. What did you think about it? Do you think this is a good, worthy Halloween spooky edition? Or do you think this was something that Dave, you tripping? It was only that one good part. It wasn't even that damn good. You capping. Let me know down in the comments what you think. But until next time, you guys stay spooky. I don't know why I did that, but stay spooky, stay easy, stay breezy, and as always, have a great night. Peace. Oh man, I wish I had told you about the park. I'm about to do something that alluded to that, but let me go ahead. Peace out, guys. See you guys for the Window and Wild review. Oh, that's this weekend. Yeah, so I see you then for the closer of BrickWall Horror 2022. Peace out.